Helo a diolch am ddangos diddordeb mewn astudio hanes fel testyn Level A. Hello and thank you for showing an interest in studying A-level history. Beth sydd gan hanes felly gynnig i'n myfyrwyr ni? Mae rai rieni falle'n cofio gwersi hanes fel cofio cyfres o ddyddiadau diri, ond nid dyma beth yw gwersi hanes ac yn wir y pwnc hanes erbyn hyn. Byddwn ni'n dadle bod hanes yn dyblygu nifer o sgiliau sydd angen ar gyflogwyr heddi yn y byd sydd ohoni. Mae yn sicr yn sicrhau bod yn disgyblion ni'n gallu delio gyda corff mawr o wybodaeth, ond hefyd yn sicrhau bod nhw'n gallu datrys problemau ac yn galluogi nhw hefyd i gynnal meddwl agored bob tro. What does history therefore got to offer our pupils? It's not just about reeling off dates after dates after dates. I do believe that history develops numerous skills that employers are looking for in this day and age. I believe that history helps them, of course, to deal with a vast amount of information and the ability to pick out the essential from the trivial, but also to solve problems and also to keep open-minded when coming to conclusions about important events and individuals. Yr ateb wrth gwrs yw bod oll wedi astudio hanes. Cymwystr hanes yn gallu bod yn gallu arwain at nifer o yrfaoedd posib fel y bobl oedd yn gosod yma yn y sleid. Nifer yn ymlaen i ddilyn newyddiaduraeth, gwleidyddiaeth, y gyfraith, byd busnes ac hyd yn oed adloniant. The answer, of course, is that they all studied history. History is a valuable subject to study that can help lead to numerous careers such as journalism, politics, the law, business and even entertainment, as the list of faces in this slide shows. Nid dim ond dysgu sgiliau a chorff o wybodaeth i'n disgyblion i'n wneud yma yn ein gwersi hanes yn gywir, ond hefyd gobeithio i gwneud nhw yn ddinasyddion egwyddorol y dyfodol. Rhywbeth sydd angen ar ein byd gallwch chi ddadlau mwy nag erioed o'r blaen. Drwy astudio hanes, ni wir yn ceisio sicrhau bod gan ein disgyblion ni meddwl agored, a'i bod nhw'n meddwl ac yn cwestiynu yr hyn maent yn gweld, boed hynny ar deledu, mewn papurau newyddion, ar y cyfryngau cymdeithasol, cyn eu bod nhw yn dod i farn. Not only does studying history develop important skills, I hope it also helps us nurture pupils to be more ethical and caring citizens of the future, a trait that perhaps is needed now more than ever before in our divided world. I hope our pupils will think twice before believing what they will see in the papers, in social media, etc. And that our pupils are trained through the study of history to evaluate what they see or hear before coming to their own conclusion. Ydym ni'n studio 2 gwrs mlwyddyn 12, uned 1 fan hyn sy'n ymwneud gyda hanes Cymru a Phrydain ac uned 2 sy'n ymwneud gyda hanes yr Almaen. Yn yr uned gyntaf, sef uned 1, ni'n edrych ar y cwestiwn ynglyn â democratiaeth, y beth yw democratiaeth, ac yn edrych ar y frwydr fawr y fu yn ystod y 4edd ganrif ar 15 dan ddylanwad y chwyldro Ffrenig i ennill y bleidlais y dyn cyffredin. Ni'n edrych ar brotestiadau fel cyflafan Peterloo, gwrthryfel Merthyr a gwrthryfel Casnewydd, ac yn edrych ar pam roedd ennill y bleidlais mor bwysig i'r werin bobl yn ystod y cyfnod yma, ac yn wir, yr aberth o'n wneud yn y canrifoedd y fu i sicrhau bod hawliau democrataidd gyda ni heddiw. Yn yr ail uned wedyd, uned 2 ar Lywodraeth Weimar, ni'n edrych ar y cwestiwn emosiynol a dadleuol iawn, ynglyn â pam y daeth unben mor greulon a syniadau mor eithafol ag Adolf Hitler i bŵer yn 1933. Ac ni'n edrych ar Lywodraeth Weimar a'r problemau fu yn ar ddiwedd y Rhyfel Byd Cyntaf mwyn ceisio esbonio hyn. What exactly then will we be studying in AS history during year 12? Well, the history A-level course is structured into 5 parts. We study 2 units in year 12, which count towards 40%, and then the further 3 units are studied in year 13 that count towards 60%. And we study in year 12 2 units. Unit 1, which concentrates on the history of Wales and Britain, and the second unit then is the unit that concentrates on Germany and the situation in Germany that evolved following the First World War. The first unit is assessed by 2 structured essays. Pupils have the opportunity to choose 2 out of 4 essays to answer, and they have to answer them 2 essays in an examination of 1 hour and 30 minutes. The second unit, Unit 2 Weimar, is a source-based paper, and pupils are well versed in answering source-based questions, having studied the GCSE course. They are asked then to answer 2 questions, having looked at sources from the era of Weimar Germany. As for Unit 1, we look at democracy, and we're looking at the fight for democracy in the 19th century. We look at the influence of the French Revolution and notable protests such as the Peterloo Massacre, the Merthyr Rising, the Chartist Rising in Newport, and we look at why the gaining of the vote was so important to people of the 19th century, and the legacy, of course, that has left for us today. In Weimar, then, Unit 2, we look at the emotive question of how on earth did such a cruel dictator as Adolf Hitler succeed in coming to power in 1933. And to understand how, of course, he came to power, this monstrous individual, we have to understand the circumstances in Germany following the First World War and the setting up of the Weimar Constitution and the Weimar government. So we look at the weaknesses of this Weimar government that in part helped Hitler to gain support and come to power in 1933. O ran cwrs blwyddyn tair ar ddeg wedyn, mae 2 uned yn cael ei asesu trwy arholiad ar ddiwedd y flwyddyn ac 1 asesiad yn cael ei asesu trwy aseiniad di-arholiad maen nhw'n ysgrifennu oddi cartref. Mae'r aseiniad yma yn ymwneud gyda Merched Beca. Mae'r 2 gwrs arall yn edrych, gyntaf gyd uned 3 yn edrych ar canrif yr Americanwyr ac yn edrych ar hanes America. Y frwydr dros hawliau sifil yn America sydd wrth gwrs yn hynod o goffoes heddi gyda'r Black Lives Matter. Ni'n edrych ar bywydau pobl ddi-America dros y ganrif ddiwethaf. Ac yn yr un modd, ni'n edrych ar yr Almaen uned 4 ar newidiadau a ddath i fywydau menywod, plant, Iddewon ac yn y blaen o dan reolaeth Adolf Hitler yn ystod y cyfnod yma. As for the Year 13 course, pupils study 2 units that are examined at the end of Year 13 and study 1 assessment, which is on the Rebecca Riot, where they write an essay which counts towards 20% of their final grade. Unit 3 is a very interesting course that looks at the history of America during the last 100 years. It looks at the Civil Rights Campaign, of course, which is very topical at the moment with the Black Lives Matter campaign. We look also at foreign policy with the Vietnam War, the Korean War and the Cold War. In Unit 4 then we move on and we look at Germany. We look at what happens in Germany once Hitler does come to power, and we look at the effect of his policies on different groups of society such as women, children and of course groups such as the Jews in Germany. I ni'n ceisio gwneud ein gwersi hanes ni mor fywiog a diddorol a phosib i'r disgyblion trwy ddefnyddio amryw o wahanol ddulliau. I ni'n chwarae rôl yn y gwersi, yn cynnal dadleuon dosbarth, ni'n gwahodd darlithwyr i'r ysgol ac yn mynd ar ymweliadau hanesyddol ynghyd â wrth gwrs gwylio clipiau ambell i raglen ac ambell i ffilm diddorol fel Selma, Peterloo ac un o ffefrynnau'r plant Blackadder. A hyn yn rhannol sy'n esbonio canlyniadau ardderchog yr ysgol, yr adran yn yr ysgol ar hyd y blynyddoedd. Yn wir, yr adran hanes yw un o adrannau mwyaf llwyddiannus yn yr ysgol o ran canlyniadau lefel A, fel dengys y sleid yma. We try and make our history lessons as interesting, as compelling as possible for our students. We do role play, we have class debates, we visit important historical sites, as well as listening to clips from videos and films such as Selma, Peterloo, and one of the children's favourites, of course, Blackadder, in order to make lessons interesting. And this in part explains our excellent results. Pupils do very, very well at history at A-level and making us one of the most successful departments in the school, as this slide highlights. Hoffwn orffen fy nghyflwyniad gyda'r poster yma, rhywbeth dylai disgyblion Tygau adnabod fel darn o propaganda yn annog disgyblion i gymryd lefel A hanes. Diolch yn fawr. I'd like to finish this presentation by showing this poster which our history GCSE pupils should recognise as a piece of propaganda and encourage our pupils to take A-level history. Thank you very much. Diolch.